All right. Thank you for that. Okay. All right. So, goal statement: our app will enhance adherence to home physiotherapy exercises, which will affect everyone with busy schedule and or lack of motivation by making use of personal exercise plans, real-time feedback, and progress tracking. And will measure effectiveness by average time of discharge. All right. Our app will enhance adherence to home physiotherapy by making use of personalized exercise plans. What exactly is your app doing? What exactly will it do?
Okay, so it's going to have like it's going to have like exercise programs basically. So the way I thought about it,
feature. I'm talking of feature now. Like what?
okay, it's going to have exercise programs, like different exercise programs. So like the physiotherapist is going to create like a plan for
Okay.
the patient, then maybe give the patient a code. Then
Okay.
when the patient inputs that code, it's going to bring out their exercise program.
Oh,
Then those programs, they're going to be different features. Like you can watch how to perform the exercise if you
okay.
don't know how to. Then
Okay.
you can tick on like when you're done, completed, and
Oh,
then there can be like medals, just like make you feel like, oh, you've
all right. All right.
achieved something.
Okay, that's cool. Right. Okay, so we are supposed to open the app and we'll see a splash screen, input exercise code. Nice. Then oh wait, you input exercise code before you create profile.
Yes.
So where will you put the exercise code?
And maybe that will be the first.
All right, maybe you should create a profile first now before you start.
Okay.
And then you now enter the home, or maybe you create a profile, then it takes you to your home before you now input a exercise code, because the exercise code is
Okay.
a recurrent thing, right? Like something you do over time. So you can,
Yes.
yeah, you understand what I mean, yeah. So
Yeah.
when you are now in the home, you can now go, maybe on the home screen there will be a space for you to input the code or something like that. So it will have calendar, exercise programs, history, setting. All right, all right. Like okay, but for now, let's just focus on the main feature. That's
Okay.
yes. So the main thing they came there to do. So they didn't come for their history. They didn't come to do calendar. The main thing.
Okay.
So the select program. Um, select program after creating a profile after inputting exercise code. Are they not
Yeah.
supposed to be a particular program that they should be on?
Yeah. So just there will be a particular program, but in cases where the patient has maybe the patient had knee pain in the past, then now the patient has shoulder pain. So they can have different programs.
Different programs, I understand, but I mean, the idea was that it's the physiotherapists that will share the programs with them, so they are not going to go there, for instance, and start the program
Okay.
that shouldn't be doing that kind of program.
Yes. Yes.
That's my, the way I look at it, because now they are selecting them because the whole idea of having this code is for them to be able to go to a particular program, right?
Yes.
And then exercise details. Okay. Basically, support bot, watch how to perform, mark as completed, and then completed. Okay. So this is their goes to clinic for, okay, that's the storyboard, the big story picture. User
Yeah.
consults and receive physiotherapy treatment and was taught some home exercises. Okay. User gets recovery plan exercise program created by the physiotherapists. Okay. User goes home happy. Okay. I mean, this can happen at any time, right? It could be there or it could be at the user's house because it's like a message now, right? It can be on WhatsApp.
Yeah. Yes.
Like the link sent to them could be.
Yes. Yes.
User goes home happy and hopeful and optimistic. Reminder to do exercise. This reminder is on the app.
Yes.
Okay, is it at the physiotherapist office that the user downloads the app?
Yes. Or they can download it at home as well.
Do you know why this question is important?
No.
It's important because you're going to have to market the app somehow. So who are you selling the app to? Are you selling the app to the user, or are you selling it to the physiotherapist?
I think to the physiotherapist.
Exactly. So because it's the physiotherapist that is going to encourage their user to download the app, yes?
Oh, yes, yes.
So this is why it's important for you to figure out, so where is the patient going to download this app? Because then
Okay. They are the clinic.
so you know what, let me just download some physiotherapy app like that, Right. Okay. So and this is going to inform how you even market, whom you market to. If you want to create partnerships, for instance, maybe you go to medical schools. So you're now going to medical schools and you're not going to the market, for instance, to tell people to download app. Do you get how that
Yes.
kind of changes your business model a lot?
Yes.
Sorry, right, okay. User goes, I'm happy. User gets reminder whenever it's time to perform exercises. Real-time feedback. Okay. Okay. So paper wireframe, splash screen. What was this one? Enter code. Okay. Program.
That's the exercise program.
All right. Okay. Okay. This is cool. Let me share one listing that we worked on just literally this week. Why I've been ghosting on you people is because we've just been very busy working on. Sorry. Okay. Okay, stop sharing right here. Size architecture. Okay. Okay, let me just show you what's like a simple, user flow might look like. That's the Figma. Okay. All right. So, can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. I will show you the one that didn't work, and then you will tell me why it didn't work, and then I'll show you the one that we're not going with. Okay. By the way, this 2 is what we're going with. This 2 is the one that we decided not to go with. So you tell me why. Right. Okay. So the idea is that we want as I told you, is a product that will allow people who have Japmad to buy a product for their loved ones at home. And what the product essentially does is that they get access to a health package. It's a subscription model where they get a specific kind of care. People who are getting older tend to, need a little more care than younger ones. So, for instance, they will need things.
Please, can I ask a question?
All right, go on.
Okay. So is the problem that they are scared that the quality of healthcare in Nigeria is not the same as there, or they just feel like their parents don't have access to maybe healthcare, or maybe they feel like the quality of care is not as good as the one they get in Europe? Which one is the problem?
Okay, it's both. And when I say quality of care here, I don't necessarily mean doctors or the medicine. I mean the service, right?
Oh.
So typically, when imagine you're an old person and you need to stay healthy.
Yes.
In order for you to be able to do that, you need to be seeing a doctor regularly.
Yeah.
You need to be checking your blood pressure, sugar level,
Yeah.
as a routine, right?
Yeah.
And, you need to be taking things like supplements, and you need to basically be eating a certain kind of food that is healthy and all of that. In fact, let me show you the kind of the plans that we have, which is not part of the flow, but just let so you get an idea of I'll send you web app. Okay, let me just show you the website. Okay, sorry, let me take away the noodles. Right. So this is essentially the website. I think the landing page will just give you an idea of what we're building, right? So this is the hero section. That's the navigation bar. So the hero section is saying, are they living their best lives? You don't have to break the bank to take good care of your loved ones. Send home quality care to the loved ones you left behind. So buy a plan now, learn more about our plans, and then proof of social proof, basically the great things that we are doing and all of that, and the awards that we've won, and a little about us. We are the #1 healthcare provider aggregator, blah 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 blah, and then the services that we offer essentially, home health provider visits. So you get health professionals come to visit, your people at home, as opposed to them going to the clinic, which is stressful. And then you get telemedicine consults, both from a nutritionist and doctors, right? So what happens is that a nurse comes to visit them at home, gets like bio data and all of that, like basically their health data, and then communicates that to a telemedical doctor, who is now going to follow up on all of that, give recommendations, and then also a nutritionist, who is also going to give recommendations on nutrition and etc. Then they have doorstep lab testing routinely, and then they have drugs delivered to them routinely. Then they have like so we now send a personalized health report to their loved ones at home, so that they know exactly the state of health of their parents and know that they are well taken care of. So this is what the plans essentially look like. So this is what the plans kind of cover. So monthly home visits by nurses, 24/7 telemedicine services, so they can pick up the phone at any time and call a doctor, and then weekly nutritionist consults. So every week, a nutritionist will call them and check up on what they ate last week, and then give them a plan for what they are going to eat this week. Diagnostic treatment coverage for basic illnesses like malaria, typhoid, allergies, and body pains, and then sourcing and delivery of daily supplement they're supposed to be taking daily, and routine blood pressure monitoring, and insurance coverage for emergencies. So if, for instance, they get into accidents or whatever, they are covered for that. And then we maintain their health data. Basically, we have a doctor that is going to be monitoring their health data. If anything, maybe their blood pressure is been high for quite some time, we alert them and let them know that this is happening, and then we can plan on what to do with that. And then we also kind of give them reports, monthly reports. Then we also have like a chronic plans for people. So this one is for people that are not even sick, right? People that are just living their normal lives, for them to maintain that normal life, yeah. And now this one is for people that actually have diabetes and managing diabetes. So from the essential plan, which is what I've listed, we also kind of have a quarterly specialist review for them. And then we do special lab tests for people with diabetes. And then we also help them source all of the routine drugs that they would be taking as diabetic patients. The same for hypertensive patients. And because a lot of times diabetes and hypertension tend to go hand in hand. Sorry? Yeah, what's this water? Maybe you should mute yourself, because I'm just having to let me mute you. Who else do I have to mute? All right. And because diabetes and hypertension tend to be combined together, we also have plans that we provide them drugs and lab tests for both those diseases together. Do you understand? And then if what they are handling is neither diabetes nor hypertension, we also have like a bespoke plan that is going to cater to that specific, need. So that's essentially what the product is, right? So now to the flow that we designed for how this website is going to work. So we designed the flow before you design the website. I just showed you kind of the services that we offer so that you understand how it's supposed to work. It's taking a while. Right. So, okay, so we wanted to design a flow because the people that are going to be visiting the website are, the people, the sponsors, that's the children that are abroad that, need to buy the medications and all of that. So, okay, so one thing is that there are two ways that they can come to us to buy the product. So one, they can come directly from our website, and two, they can come from remittance companies. So there are remittance companies. Remittance companies are companies that help people send money to their people at home, because it's normally not easy for people abroad to send money home. Like, because it's dollar to naira. That's typically not easy to send money across borders. So that's actually a problem that remittance companies are solving, right? So another way we can get them is through the websites of these remittance companies. So we can have our service living there on their website or their app, where people can now come and say, oh, by the way, it turns out I can actually buy healthcare for my parents, and then they click and then they now come into our website and finish up the flow. So, so this is one way that we looked at it, yeah? So people come to the product page of the partners, and then they click the buy plan on the product page of the partners, that's buy the Wella Health Plan. So when they click that, they now jump into our website. So when they click that, they now jump into our website, yeah? Now, when they jump into our website, they start from the sign up page, basically to sign up, because we kind of have to get their information and all of that for KYC purposes, yeah? Then they create an account. When they now create an account, we move them to our web portal, right? Then when they're in the portal, they will arrive at the portal home, and then they will now choose to add a beneficiary, because they can have multiple beneficiaries. Maybe they want to buy the plan for their mother, and then for their father, and then for their auntie, and then for their uncle. So they now can add as many beneficiaries as them, basically add beneficiary. And then it will now go to the plan screen that will now show them all the plans that we have available. And then they now pick a plan, and they can, at that time, choose to either add beneficiary, in which case they go back to add an extra beneficiary, or they can choose to not add an extra beneficiary, in which case they will now go to the payment screen that is back in the website of our partners, basically leaving our app, because it's the payment, they're not going to make it in our app. We are not a remittance company. We don't have the infrastructure for making payments inside our app. So we now typically use like payments companies. There are companies that specialize in making payments. So we typically use them. So they will leave our app and go to that remittance company's app and then finish up. So here they go to the payment screen, pay for subscription and success. When that happens, we send them an email. So when we send them an email and they click on the email, they now they can now view their portal. So can anyone tell me what was wrong with this? Why we didn't choose it? Can unmute yourself now. Are you guys still there?
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Yeah, what do you think about the process, by the way? Is it straightforward? Is it like, what do you think about it? What would you have improved? What would you have improved?
Maybe instead of having to go into the email again to click a link, maybe they can just log in and just get to where they're going directly after making payment. I don't know.
Okay, after making payment, they will now go, but it's still the same thing. I mean, whether so after
So
making,
like instead of having to go to their email to get the link.
so instead of having to go to their email to get the link,
Yeah.
they will automatically be redirected to their portal.
Yes.
And what would they be doing in the portal? Mind you that the
Okay. Wait, is it that they won't be able to view their portal till they make payment?
yes.
Okay, how about if they can create a portal and have a portal first before like choosing a plan?
Okay.
Yeah, I think that.
Okay. So at what point do they make the payments now? Because at what point do they make a payment? So I think they make a payment after they view their portal.
Have their portal, yes.
They had their
Then they
portal.
can now choose the plan and then make payment.
And they now choose the plan and make payments. Okay, so it means that they will get into the app, create their own portal, and then from their portal
Yes.
they let their beneficiaries, and then they make payments. That's
Yes.
what. Okay. Does anyone have other ideas? Why is it only peace inside here? Wait, where is it?
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. So I joined the class late. So I think instead of having a third party to like send money to their parents from or make payments from, how about a wallet or something
How about what?
instead of a wallet?
A wallet. Okay. So
Yes.
but
So
you know,
instead of the third party, because definitely,
how do they pay money into the wallet?
because I know for processing.
Sorry?
Oh, okay.
How will they pay money into the wallet? That's the problem. How will they pay money into the wallet?
Okay. Actually, don't think of that.
Yeah, that's the main issue now. Is collecting money from them. That's the main issue.
Yeah, because I was just really thinking of using another payment processing. Those ones want to like collect their charges or like take part of the funds or something, a percentage.
By the way, we were actually using a wallet system, but since I took over as the product owner of this project, I scrapped the wallet system. Do you know why? We had a wallet for this. We had you are saying we should create a wallet. We had that was the first thing we did.
Yeah.
But since I became the product owner for this project, I scrapped the wallet. Can you tell me why I did that? All right.
And like you mentioned,
The point is that we thought
payment.
about the wallets and the
How do you
wallet.
pay into the wallet?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like one of the issues was how to send money to the wallet.
No, that's not it. I mean, it's not. I mean, people are sending money to the wallet, but that's not the problem. And the problem will only become.
I think because they are sending from other countries, like not from Nigeria. So maybe it will be easier to just send it directly, I think.
No, like what a wallet essentially does is it's just like creates a UI where people can see that they've sent so amount of money, and the money will be there so that as they are spending the money will be now reducing. That's what a wallet is basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But that wallet system, we had it before, where people sent money to the wallet, and then whenever they need a service, we supplied the service and then subtracted money from the wallet. That's what we're doing. But then I scrapped it.
Why did you scrap it?
Okay, so as I said, when you're doing service design, you have to think about everything. You have to bring in every stakeholder, right? Now, you realize that, of course, you will not realize because it's not your job, right? Neither was it my job. but it comes up when you start speaking to people. The money paid into a wallet does not count as revenue. In accounting, the money that's even if somebody has like $1 million in their wallet, you cannot as a company claim that as a revenue because it's not revenue. The person has not used the money. It only becomes revenue when the person has used the money. So having a wallet system means that you have a lot of money that is dead. You can't do anything with it. You cannot report it as revenue. You cannot report it as, you cannot claim the money. It's not your money. So we changed from the wallet system to a subscription model, because with subscription model, any money that comes in is revenue. And there is really nothing else. Like it's just like paying for Netflix. If you pay for Netflix, you cannot say you want to watch 2 movies. you have access to Netflix for a month. So because you've paid the money, Netflix can say this is our money. They can claim it. It can go directly into their reporting as revenue. So that when Netflix has 5 million subscribers, they are able to say, this is how much we are going to make in a year, because these 5 million subscribers are going to be paying this money every month for a year. So they can forecast based just on the number of subscribers they have, how much they will make at the end of the year. However, if it's a wallet system, the fact that you have 5 million people having 1 million each in their wallet does not mean you've made shembang in that year. Do you understand? So that's the problem. And that's why I decided to change from the wallet system to a subscription model. So back to this particular flow.
Thank you very much.
All right. So back to this particular flow, right? So one of the things that we prioritize when we are designing flows at Wella Health is we want to get the users to commit ASAP. Creating an account is not commitment. Paying money is commitment. So we want to design, because if somebody commits, then surely the person is going to complete whatever they've started. Do you understand? Like if you've paid money already, then you're going to finish up. But if you start and then it's looking like this account creation process is long ago, okay, now I have to put my email, I have to put my name. Oh, they are now asking for this one and my mother's name and their address. This thing is too long, I beg, let me go. You understand? But if you've already paid money, when you now find that you have to also put your mother's address, her phone number, her date of birth and all of that, you feel like I've paid money already, so let me quickly complete this process. Do you understand? So because of that, in our design of flow, we like to get the customer to commit as soon as possible. Do you understand? So that's why we don't do sign up first and all of that. We find a way to get the minimum information that we need from them to get to the next step of payment, so that they can now make payments, and then we can now collect all of this other information that we want to collect from them. That way, they will now, there is a better completion rate. Do you understand the logic? Now, compare the flow that you saw before to this flow. So in this flow, patient comes to the partner page, clicks buy, and immediately goes to checkout screen. And then they choose the number of people that they want to pay for. Now, we don't know any information about these people. We just know that there are 5 people that they want to pay for. And the plans that they want to pay, basically, essential plan, 2 people. This other plan, 5 people. Minimum information. And then it goes to the payment screen, and then they make payments. After they make payments, we now redirect them to our website where they now sign up. So we automatically sign them up based on, because these partners people kind of have some data on them already. Data like their email, their name, their phone number, and all of that. So we automatically input it for them so that they don't have to go through the process of inputting it again, right? And then they now create an account. Mind you, they've already paid. Now create an account, and then we now take them to the portal where they now start completing the beneficiary information for the people that they've paid for, or for the number of people that they've paid for. So you see how this one gets them to commit earlier, so that they will commit, so that they would now feel an obligation to finish up because they've already paid money. Do you understand? Now, what's the downside of this? Anyone? Peace. Peace, what's the downside?
Sorry, can you zoom in? I didn't really get the...
All right.
I was lost from...
Okay, where did you get lost? Always ask questions. If you get lost, always ask questions. Where did you get lost?
Okay. From the checkout screen. After the... No. From... Can you slide to the side? Okay, I think from choose number of plans and...
All right. So remember that our product is in subscription packages.
Yes.
There is essential care plan, which is the entry point. And then there is the diabetic plan, the hypertensive plan, and the combined plan. These plans have different prices. Okay?
Okay.
All
Yes.
right. So at the checkout screen, where we're now showing them the invoice of what they're going to buy.
Yeah.
That's where they will now choose the plan that they want and how many people they want to enroll into that plan. So if, for instance, you want to buy essential plan, they will buy essential plan, and essential plan is bought for 2 people. Now, the identification of those people, 2 people, we don't know. We just know that 2 people are buying essential. They are enrolling 2 people into an essential plan, and then they are enrolling 3 people into a diabetic plan. Do you understand it now?
Yes. Yes.
So when they will now do it, because this is actually what is going to inform how much they are going to pay. So when they now make payments, it's now take them to the payment screen, show them how much they are going to pay based on what they've selected. They now make payments. After they make payments, they will now come back to we will now redirect them to our own website now. So
yes. Which website were they on before?
They were in our partner's website, that remittance company.
Okay.
It's the remittance company's website, or their app, or whatever.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
So after they've done this on our partner's app, that's when they now come into our own app. Like redirection is poor user experience. If you notice, whenever you are trying to do something and then they'll tell you, oh, this is going to redirect you to another website, you lose the taste. It doesn't taste good in your mouth. You understand?
Yes.
You are in a website before and you have to do something and then it has to take you to open another page. The user experience is typically not good. Do you understand? That switch is what people like to do. So that's why we like to kind of complete the payments in the same platform where they came in, so that they don't have that experience of jumping to another website to make payment. Do you understand?
Yes.
So when they're in our partners page, we want them to finish up there. And that was the problem with this one, because they came here and then they get directed to our own page before they now got redirected back again to make payment. They did it 2 times. This is there is a very high probability that they are going to jump off. They are going to say, what is this nonsense? And then they'll just go. Do you understand? People are typically very, what's the word? Skeptical whenever they have to jump from one thing to another, especially when it has to do with money. Do you understand? So when they've started here, we'll get them to finish up payments in the same place where they started. When they now do it, we'll now bring them to our own website where they now complete the sign-in process and account creation and beneficiary enrollment after they have committed already with money. Do you understand? So that was what was wrong with this one. Now, so this is when they are coming into from our partner site. Sometimes it also happens that they come into from our own website directly, maybe through our a marketing post we made on Facebook, or a marketing post we made on Twitter, or maybe we just saw them on the road and then, shared our websites with them. So they can come to the Wella Health, the Health Send landing page or the product page. And then when they click buy plan, when they click buy plan, it takes them to a sign up screen where, so it takes to a sign up screen where they do a quick sign up. We try to use that Google account sign up and whatnot. And then, or they can sign up with their
email. Is happening on Wella Health. This is happening on Wella Health.
Yeah, this is happening on Wella Health website. On Health actually, but his Health and is Wella Health, is same company.
Okay. But for the other one, why can't they just, like, when they get to the third party app, the partners app, why can't they just click a link? Then it brings them to Wella Health, like this. Then they just follow this particular flow. Because I feel like it will be able to, they'll be able to trust this process more.
That is what happened here. That is what they did here now. Isn't it?
Okay.
That's what they did here. And that's what cost them to change platforms twice. Because again, Wella Health does not have, we are not a remittance company, we're not a payments company. So whenever we have to spend money, they will have to go back to where they are coming from. So that means they come from this website, they switch over to Wella Health website, and then switch back to that website to make payments. Poor user experience.
Okay. Yes.
So so this is here, the same platform that they came in is where they made payment. And here, because they came in from our own websites, so when they've signed in, it takes them immediately to the checkout screen. The same thing that happened here, where they have to put in the number of beneficiaries and blah, blah, blah that they're paying for. Then we'll take them to our payment partner. In this case now, is no longer a remittance company. It's like Stripe. You understand? Like, okay, Stripe is also a remittance company, but Stripe kind of has like is embedded into the website. Normally how it works. Like when you're in the website and you have to make payments, it kind of gives you a Stripe page that is also embedded within that website.
Yes.
So it's kind of embedded within the website. So it's not like you're leaving the website and coming back again. It's the same website. It's just a Stripe card that is in the website. You understand? So after they now make payments, we now take them directly to our portal, which is still the same website, and then they finish up whatever it is that they wanted to do. You get?
Yes.
So that's the flow. And with this flow, typically we get much fewer drop-offs and all of that nonsense. Yeah, so that's some tricks to the game. And that's the kind of things you should think about when you're designing your own flow and all of that. Think of it as a service and think strategically. Okay, so we've spent 1 hour discussing this thing. Okay, so let's today's class is actually Gestalt Principles. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
What is it showing?
Gestalt Principles.
All right. So
yes, virtual perception.
Yeah. So a lot of product design is psychology. And because the impulses that people are seeing are visual impulses, sometimes audio impulses, but visual impulses, a lot of the design that we do will take into consideration some principles, some visual principles that affect human psychology. And you will learn that these principles are so deeply ingrained in our subconscious that, if you don't follow these principles when you're designing, your users are going to have a pretty bad experience. And following them would mean that your users are going to have a better user experience for the products that you design. So what are Gestalt principles, right? Now, as I've said, the human brain, right, the way it works, it takes a lot of shortcuts. If you notice now, like if there are words that I will say, and automatically your brain will start thinking something, right? Everybody has biases. Every single human being on earth has biases, right? If I say the word Ghana, or should I say Ghanaian people, there is something that your brain is thinking already. And it's not based on your experience of, or is kind of based on your typical experience of people. It could also be based on what people say about them or something. But the fact is that there are shortcuts our brains take. You know, whenever you see a man, a fat man, there is a typical, like, already things that your brain is telling you about that person, even though you've never met that person in your life. But there are things that your brain will already be telling you about that person. Let's say, for instance, if you see a very big dog, you know, a very, very big dog versus a small dog, a chihuahua, you know, this very, very small dog that they used to put inside pockets, right? You've not heard, they've not said anything. You know, those two of the dogs have not barked, but already you know how the big dog will sound when it starts barking, and you know how the smaller dog will sound when it starts barking. Do you understand? And it's subconscious because you've gotten a lot of experiences before. So that if that big dog now opens its mouth and starts sounding like that chihuahua, you'll be very surprised. You'll be very, very surprised. Or if the opposite happens, that small dog starts sounding like the big dog, it will also surprise you. I was watching, I was in a video, I think it was a video or something, where one man puts like a trailer horn in his bike, like in his motorbike, you know, put a horn of a trailer in his motorbike. So when he blows that horn, boo, everybody will just be looking around, looking for trailer. Meanwhile, the man is riding a bike. Do you understand? So that's kind of how the human mind works. Our minds take shortcuts. And a good experienced designer understands these shortcuts and understands how to use these shortcuts in order to create the best experience for the user. I think I've already explained, you know, I've already explained this. So Gestalt principles will determine which design elements are most effective in a given situation. They can influence our perception, you know, influence our attention, influence experience, you know. Yeah, I mean, of course, influence the way we think about things, like whether it's beautiful or pleasant or intuitive. So there are 7 Gestalt principles. One is, no, there are more than 7 actually, but we're just going to discuss 7 that are most important for the work we do. There are more than that actually, and in fact, I'll send you links to read up more, you know, Gestalt principles. You know, the more of it you use actually, and depending on how aptly you apply it, you know, the better your experience is going to be for a user. So there is a figure ground principle, there is similarity principle, proximity principle, principle of common region, principle of continuity, principle of closure, and focal point. And these principles, we are going to talk about them in detail. And as I said, these principles influence, or they are used a lot. And I'm going to show you instances where they are used in apps that you know. In fact, you use those apps and you be like, in your mind, you're like, oh, this app, you know. In fact, you know, there is this saying that a good user experience is the one that you don't even notice. Like if you go into an app and come out and somebody asks you how was the app, and you say, it's just there. Like you did what you wanted to do. That means you had a very good experience. Because if that app had a bad experience, you know exactly what is wrong with you know what is wrong with the app. You know what is wrong with the app. If you're able to enter an app and just finish, you won't even notice that you've used something, and that means that app was perfectly designed. But if you enter the app and then you feel that you are using something, that means something needs to change. Something needs to be improved on how it's, you know, on how it's on the flow to make it more intuitive. Like using an app should be very intuitive. Now, what is figure ground principle? So the figure ground principle states that people will instinctively perceive objects as either being on the foreground or the background. They either stand out prominently in the front, which is in the figure, or they will recede into the back, which is the ground. So when people use a website or mobile app, one of the first things they do on each screen is to determine which is the figure and which is the ground. And then I'll give you a simple example right on this page you're looking at. If I ask you, what is the background of this page? Can anyone tell me what the background, which one is the ground on this page and which one is the figure? On the page you're looking at. On this presentation page you're looking at. Anyone?
So the figure is one figure ground, while the background are like the other legends on it.
Okay, well, you are close. The background is the white background.
Okay.
And the text is the figure. Like automatically, when you open this page, automatically the white background is on the background. You don't even notice it. You don't think that you should have paid attention to the white background. And the things you started paying attention to was the text, right? The white background just went into the background. You didn't even think it was a thing. What you focused on was the text. This white, somebody painted it white. FFFFF, right? Somebody did some work on it, but he just disregarded it like it didn't exist. Yeah. But what you focused on, which is the figure, was the text on it. It does not mean that work didn't go into designing the background, but it just means that automatically in our minds, we separate the wheat from the chaff. We pick, okay, this is what they want me to focus on, and the background doesn't matter, you know? Now, an example of figure ground principle, right? If you look at this thing now, what are you seeing? What can you see in this square? What can you see there on the square?
Should I say two faces or a chalice? That's a cup.
Oh, all right. So when you see two faces, automatically the chalice becomes the background, right?
Yeah.
Automatically, your mind will automatically push the chalice and make it irrelevant. But when your mind focuses on the chalice, automatically your mind will push the faces to the background and make them irrelevant. Do you understand? So that's basically what figure ground principle is like, right? And in the same way, you know, this sign-up page, we saw it in the last one, or in the page before, you know, how the black becomes the background and the sign-up becomes the foreground. And here, the background becomes the sign up, whereas this thing automatically becomes a button. Do you understand? And this principle is, we take a lot of things for granted in product design because people have done it a million times, and it now became a thing. And all of a sudden, people didn't think of what used to be before that. I don't know if you people are old enough to have used internet in the early 2000s, right? I'm talking of in 2000, 2001. How many of you use internet in 2001? Anyone?
I did cyber cafe.
You did cyber cafe, right? Yeah. When you did cyber cafe, do you remember how buttons used to look like?
Yes, pretty wide. Like I'm trying to picture the Yahoo signing page or the login page.
Yeah, I will tell you. It didn't used to look like anything. There was no button. There are just links. If you go back now and Google pictures of what Google looked like back in the 2000s, yeah, or what Yahoo looked like back in, there was no button. This thing down that you saw that red going, around the sign up, it didn't exist. What you just saw was a link, a text, and then a blue text, and then a line under it to show you that this thing is a link that needs to be clicked. And then they color it blue to separate it from all other text, so that because it's colored blue and there is a this thing line under it, you know that you should click here. That was what buttons look like. There was no concept of button as something that, something like a box is around it and then the text inside. It didn't exist back then.
Yeah.
Right? But people used principles of visual design to now say, you know what, if we put a box around this thing, we'll automatically form a concept of foreground and background, and then it will push out this thing to become something that people are going to focus on as something that they should look at, right? If you look at some websites, in fact, the website I showed you, the health center website I showed you, if you paid attention, you see that, in fact, not if you paid attention, let's go back there so that, let's go back there. Because I like to, when I'm doing, I like to show examples. So it's not be like I'm lying. It will not be like I'm lying. All right, so you can still see this thing, right? You can see my screen. You can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Now, sorry, let me zoom. My network, this thing is a bit. Right. So you see, how many buttons are here? How many buttons can you see here?
Two.
There are two buttons here, right? There are two, but this one and
Yeah.
one, right? This is one button and this is another
Yeah.
button. But there is a reason why we put a box on this button and not a box on this button. Why? Because we wanted people to focus here, and then as a second thought, look at this one. Do you understand?
Okay.
So we just use the figure ground principle here to design this page, because we wanted people to focus here as the figure and then this one as the ground. So typically this is how, in buttons we have things we call primary buttons, secondary buttons, and tertiary buttons. This is a tertiary button. This is a primary button. A primary button is a button that the designer wants you to focus on, and the tertiary button is a button that the designer wants you to look at as an afterthought. And of course, you can tell why we wanted this to be the primary button, because we wanted people to just buy it before they even scroll. Let's just buy it now, And then, oh, by the way, if you want to learn about our plans, so this is where you can go and look at it. So sorry, let me. Yeah, so that's the figure ground principle. Now, principle of similarity. So the principle of similarity states that when things appear to be similar to each other, we will automatically group them together. And we also think that they have the same function, right? So a variety of design elements like shape, color, organization can be used to establish similarity. Now, I'll show you an example. So if you look at these things here, like these things like this one, as it is, right? Automatically, you know that you look at this and your brain will automatically tell you that there are two kinds of things here. There are things that is in block, and then there are things that is in circle, right? And for some crazy reason, your brain automatically believes that the things that are in circle, they belong together, that they are similar. For some crazy reason, nothing else shows that they are similar. Why are they similar? Okay, so this one, why is it that we don't think that this block is more related to this one? Automatically, we group this circle together with all the other circles. Why are we not grouping it as, okay, this line and then this line and then that line? Do you understand? So the principle of similarity occurred here, and we are seeing a shape here in the middle, a rhombus, because we believe that because these circles are together, somehow they are related because they are similar. The same thing is happening here, right? And in this time, we are using color to establish similarity. Again, these two are close together. This square is closer to this square. For some crazy reason, we are going to believe that this square down here is more related to this square on top of here, just because they have similar colors, and the same goes with this green, right? Another way it can be established is these two things now, like these sets, set 1 and set 2, we automatically think that because this is set 1 and set 2, like they look similar, then they have to behave alike. So if I press this button, the way this thing behaves when I press this button is the way this one should also behave when I press this button. And the way it behaves when I press the green button is the way this one should also behave when I press the green button, just because they look similar. Do you understand? And this is established even before anybody can tell you what any of these things do. I mean, you don't know what it is. You don't know if it's a game. You don't know if it's a picture. You don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All that matters is this red button functions the same as this red button, and this green button functions the same as this green button. And your brain has told you that even before you know what the hell the function is. Do you understand? That's principle of similarity. Now, how is principle of similarity used in real life? Now, this is eBay. This eBay's website, right? So because this is eBay, and then you can see this card, you can see that card, and you can see a card that went in there where we cannot finish seeing. And then you can see this one, and then you can see this one, you can see this one. Somehow, okay, let me just ask, so it will not be like it's me that is doing it. So it will not be like it's me that is doing it. Can somebody unmute their mic so I can ask question? Please, which things do you think are grouped together, like are related in terms of function, you know, just by looking at this thing, this page, this particular one now? What things do you think are related together in terms of function or whatever, you know?
Okay, so from the explore popular categories, those sneakers, Korean beauty, wristwatches, those ones look like they are related, like they do the same thing.
Same thing, right? Okay.
Yes. Then the watches.
Right.
Too.
And why do you think that?
Because they have the same background, the same
background,
color, yes, the same color too.
The same shape.
The same shape, yes. The same font.
Arrangement.
Exactly the same arrangement.
Yeah.
Yes.
So and this is Facebook. This is actually my Facebook. I just did a screenshot. So this is Facebook. Can you look at this one now and tell me the things that are related?
The stories.
Okay. Right. So why are they related?
Yeah. The same shape, the same font, the same way the texts are placed.
And the same arrangement, right? And the same arrangement.
Same arrangement.
And if you look, Facebook is an infinite scroll. So if you look, every card looks like each other. And because every card looks like each other, if you come to another card that is not looking like the first card you saw, you'd be like, okay, this is something different. Just like here now, you can see this is still Facebook, by the way. So you can see this is as you are scrolling, all of a sudden, the card is no longer looking like this, it's not looking like this, and it will catch your attention. And you'll be like, okay, this is something else. Oh, by the way, this is, Facebook Marketplace. And okay, so yeah, it's different. It's arranged differently and all of that. So you know that it's not the same as what you've been seeing before. Do you understand? So yeah, that is kind of, and the same goes to this one. So because this one now, the shape is not the same as this one's shape. You know they are different. Just because their shape is not the same. So this one now, the shape is not the same as the shape here. So when you scroll to this point, you know that this point is also different from this point. Right? So why this one was talking about reels and short video, this one is just like an advert and all of that. So yeah, just because of that, they're different. And you expect them to have different functions. You expect them to have, to behave differently and all of that. So another principle is principle of proximity. Principle of proximity states that things that are close together appear to be more related than things that are spaced farther apart. Proximity is powerful and it overrides similarity and color and shape. Like it's a more powerful, visual principle. Is a more powerful, how do I put it now? Bias than, of similarity, color, shape, and other, factors that differentiate a group. Now, in order to prove it again, let's look at this one, right? So this is the same thing that we've seen. So we've seen this one, right? We've seen it. Now, this thing, all I did is put a space between these two, right? Put a space between these two. Now, automatically, okay, somebody please unmute their mic and say hi so I can ask questions. Who is unmuting?
Okay, hi.
All right. Now, if I ask you now, what is more related now? These two together, or this red and this red? Which one is more related?
This is
Which one would you say automatically? Just
okay.
Yeah. What would you say is more related?
The red.
The red together.
Yeah, because they have the same appearance. Yes.
Okay.
The same color.
Are they related in terms of that they belong together or that they have the same function? I'm talking of in terms of belonging together, not function now. Belonging.
Okay. The two, because looking at every other thing, we have them separated. So for them to have come together, they have something in common. So they belong. Right. Something must have united them. Sort of.
Yeah. So because they are together, they belong together. But this red one may have the same function. This one now may have the same function as this one. But because this one belongs, they kind of are in the same area, this one in the same area, then somehow, for some crazy reason, something brought them together. So these two here belong together, and this one belong together. So this one, these two, like red and gray square, belong together. This square does not belong to this red square. This red square does not belong to this red square, even though they may have the same function. But this one belongs, they belong in the same group. Simple. And the same thing here. Nobody will look at this and say, oh, that this box belongs together with this box. No. Because this one they are together and this one they are together, automatically in your mind, these boxes belong together. Function may be different, but belonging together, these boxes belong together, and these boxes here belong together just because of proximity. That's the principle of proximity. I'll give you an example. I regret I have to use like one of our friends, right? Look at this thing here. Look at this page. Can someone tell me what is wrong with this screen? This is taken from a website of one of our partners, and after I looked at this website, I had to give them a call. And after I gave them a call, they contacted their designer and made corrections. So can someone tell me what is wrong?
So all right, please you can go, man.
Okay. So for the gender, I think the select gender is meant to be closer to the gender text.
All right.
Now it looks like that first enter employee staff ID belongs to that gender text because they are closer than what is actually meant for.
Right. So it's happened that a lot of our customers were calling and saying that when they try to access this thing, that they don't get a call back and all of that, So we had to do a little audit, and that's when I now came on this page and saw what they were seeing and why people were having a bad experience, with the whole process. So this is something that costs this company. I don't know how much it cost them a pretty good amount of money, just because somebody who designed it didn't follow principle of proximity. Now look at the correction they made. Can you see, how they changed things? And because they changed it, people were now getting, and in fact, the truth is that, like, I don't even need to do a test or a usability testing or whatever to know that this is what will happen. You understand? I don't need to do a usability testing to know that this is what will happen. I just, by looking at this and knowing my Gestalt principles, I will understand that this should be a better design than the other one. It's just as simple. It's not rocket science. Now, there is also a principle of common region, right? So the principle of common region is also related to the principle of proximity. And it states that when objects are located within the same closed region, we perceive them as being grouped together. It sounds like proximity, but you see the difference. It means that adding borders or visible barriers is a great way to create a perceived separation between groups of objects, even if they have proximity, shape, size, color. Now, you know, yeah, in last week's class, you know, we thought I showed you like the new things Figma has added to their website, sorry, to their app, and how it's now very easy for people to just jump in and then click on something and boom, you know, pages come up. And a lot of those things are already designed with the principles, like all these principles I'm discussing already in mind, yeah? Of course, it does not mean that you shouldn't know the principles, because if you don't know the principles, I mean, the fact that you are not aware of it means that at some point you will make a mistake. And a lot of times when you design something, your program, the people that are programming it, the developers will not design it the exact same way. And if you didn't know the principles going in, you will not even know where to correct them from. Do you understand? So these are things that are also important. So even if Figma is making a lot of these things automatic, you still have to know your stuff. You still have to know them. You still have to know why Figma has chosen to put these things together like this or that one together like that. So that's why it's important. And if you take these things for granted, you will not understand why the internet had to change and look different over time, right? How we had to go from, you know, internet that didn't have buttons, you know, to internet that now had buttons, and internet that now had cards, you know, because in the last this thing we are talking about designing cards. If you knew what Twitter, I don't know, you know, I'm dating myself now. I'm carbon dating myself. But if you knew what Facebook looked like in 2005, 2004, 2005, I'm even going too far. What Facebook looked like in 2004, right? You would see that a lot has changed, and a lot of Gestalt principles have been included in order to make the Facebook user experience better than it used to be. If you knew what Twitter looked like the first time Twitter came out, you would know how much they've added Gestalt principles and all of these things I'm talking about to make the experience better today. So this is what the principle of common region is, right? Now, in the last one, we just grouped them together. But the fact that we now added a border, it now solidified it. There is no border on earth, you know, because the last time I asked somebody, you know, they wanted to put this red one together. This red one, they might be related. But now that I've put a border around it, there is no border in this life that if I ask, they will say, oh, that this thing that they are no, they are not they are not in, you understand? Because this border I put this border here, it has solidified that idea that these things are related and these ones are related. That idea has now been, if there was a doubt before, now it has been solidified. And in this case, you can see that even here, I didn't have to put a border. What I had to put was a shadow, right? And that shadow still, you know, gives the same impression as if I had put a border, you know. So you can use a shadow to achieve the same thing. You can use a border to achieve the same thing. But once you put a border around it, it becomes a common region, you know. You know, in fact, even in real life, I mean, when you talk about Nigeria, people say, this place is southwest, this place is southeast, this place is south one, center. You know, when you are going on the road, you don't see any border, but because somebody has put a lines on the map, automatically this place has become Nigeria. If you are traveling, if you see the real, you know, map, like a Google map now, you know, without lines, you won't know where Nigeria started and where Nigeria stopped. But because somebody drew a map, and like these political maps where they now have lines around countries, you now say, oh, this one is Nigeria, this one is Ghana. Without those lines, every place looks the same. Every place looks like land. Do you understand? And immediately, because there is a border, all of a sudden, somebody's Togolese and somebody's Nigerian and somebody's Ghanaian. That's principle of common region. and somebody southeast and somebody southwest, principle of common region. Okay, so this is how we use principle of common region. This is one of our apps, although it's the old design, but it's the principle still applies, right? So this is an app that we use to order fulfillment from pharmacies, right? So one of the things Wella Health does is that we help HMOs fulfill their benefits to their enrollees, right? How we do that is that we connect with a lot of pharmacies, and we send them fulfillment orders, and then basically they can look at it and fulfill the particular medications. Now, so if you look at this now, how we typically separate each medication from the other, I mean, this is like a prototype. So not typically this one will be paracetamol, and this one will be ibuprofen, and this one will be something else, and this one will be something else. But because we've put a region around it, use principle of common region, then they will know that this quantity is talking about this paracetamol, not this ibuprofen at the bottom, right? So this quantity box they will know that this quantity, is for paracetamol, and this price is for paracetamol. So they are not going to make mistake of thinking that this price now is for this one, or that this quantity is for this one, because we've put them in a box, using the principle of common region. There is also principle of continuity, and principle of continuity states that elements that are arranged on a line or on a curve are perceived to be more related than elements that are not on the line or not on the curve. And that's because our eye would naturally follow a line or a curve when making continuation. And continuation is a strong signal of relatedness. So things that are going on a straight line are typically assumed to be very related. So when you see like an army and they are marching on a straight line, all of a sudden, you know that they are all in the same army. They are not in a different army. Maybe you have the Air Force and the Navy and all of that. So the Air Force, all of the Air Force will be on one line. Navy will not be inside that line. And automatically, without even looking through, you just assume, boom, that all of those people, they are in the same group because they are marching on the same line. The same thing with things like ants. When you see ants forming a line and then they carry food, and all of a sudden you know that there is no different species of ants on their line. That all of them are together. So if you want to kill, you just use the same insecticide and you kill all of them. So this is what the principle of continuity looks like here. So because these ones are in a line, all of a sudden you know that they are related. Like this red one is related to this one because they are on a straight line. And this one is also related to this one because they are on a straight line. And this principle is even more strong when they are in motion. So for instance, now if this thing is in motion, like moving, like as a straight, like it's moving as a straight line, or is scrollable as a straight line, automatically you know that definitely they are together because they are moving together. So again, we come back to this, because this one, is scrolling together and they're on a straight line, you assume they're together. The same thing, this one on a straight line, you assume that they're together because there is continuity. Now there is a principle of closure. Principle of closure states that when we look at a complex arrangement of visual elements, we tend to look for a single recognizable pattern. In other words, when you see an image that has missing parts, your brain will fill in the blanks and make a complete image so that you can still recognize the pattern. So if you're looking at this, your brain is not thinking it's a C. Your brain is thinking it's a box, right? You're looking at this, your brain thinks it's a box because your brain will automatically close up the shape. That's principle of closure. The same thing will apply here. So if you look at this, this one is still half of it, right? This one is still half, but automatically your brain is going to close up this shape and assume that this shape exists beyond this border. And it's with this principle that we establish the concept that this thing can scroll, that there is something hidden under there. So if you're seeing this thing now without this border, even with this border here, right? Your mind is not thinking, okay, this is the end of this shape. This is where you are not thinking that this is just a short rectangle. No. Your mind will know that this one completes, just like these ones have completed. There is also a completion to this one, that this one will complete. And because of that, automatically you want to see the completion. Where does this thing even lead? And that is what now leads you to scroll it horizontally. Typically, scrolling is a vertical movement. Like people would typically scroll from bottom to up. That's the mental model of scrolling, from bottom to up. But because this thing is not finished, automatically in your mind, you believe that this thing should scroll horizontally because there is something hidden inside here. Do you understand? That is why when these things are being designed, you know, they are not designed for, they will never design this thing as two full blocks. They will always, if it scrolls, they will always design it as 2.5 or 3.5. Just like Facebook has made their own now. Their own is 3.5. There's 1, 2, 3 boxes, and then there is half to show you that this thing scrolls horizontally. In the same way, this one is 2, and there is half to show you that it scrolls horizontally. And you see a lot of models like this. So for instance, now, even this card, the reason Facebook doesn't make this card to come and it's just like, you understand, the whole page is everything ends here, is because they want to show you that you can actually scroll, you know, and finish up this card here. If you look at this one here now, let me just, if you see this thing here, there is no strong impulse to scroll up. Am I lying? Somebody tell me if I'm lying. If you look at this page here now, you don't have a strong impulse to scroll up.
Yeah.
False.
It looks like that's everything.
It looks like it's everything, right?
Yes.
Whereas you're looking here, because this one is not complete, your mind is going to know that there is something under, and then there is an impulse for you to scroll up. So if I wanted to redesign this thing now, I'm going to design it in such a way that I use a principle of closure so that people will know that this thing has not finished. There is still something under, so that they cannot scroll up. So do you understand? I mean, and this is eBay. This is eBay. eBay should have like very, very big designers and all of that. But look at the kind of mistake they are making. Do you understand? So there is also focal points. So the principle of focal points states that whatever stands out visually will capture and hold the viewer's attention first, right? Can you read what is on the screen? Can anyone read what is on the screen? The way they read it, you know?
This is the last you read. You read this first.
Is that how you read it? Is that really how you read it?
No. I read the red one first.
You read the red one first,
You read this first.
You read it exactly the way it was like a prophecy, wasn't it? Like you read this one first, and then you read this, and then this one, and then you now come up and read this one. That's how you read it? I don't have to ask you. I know. You understand?
Yes.
You don't have to ask you.
Yeah.
I knew that this is the last. I knew that this is the last thing you read on this page. I knew it even before. I didn't have to ask you. I knew that's how it happened. You know, because this is an established principle. It is established that you read this red one first. It's established. There is no debate about it, right? This is thousands and thousands of, you know, hours of research. So, you know, it's like hours of research, like years and decades of research that has gone into something like this. So I don't even need to ask you to know that you read this first, and then you read this one, and then this one, and then you came back to read this one. It's just how your mind will work. And that's principle of focus. Now, there are other Gestalt principles, you know. There is, for instance, the principle of symmetry, you know, where the mind prefers to perceive objects as symmetrical and balanced. There is also principle of common fate, where elements that are moving in the same direction are perceived as part of a group. There is also the pregnance principle, where the mind organizes elements in the simplest and most recognizable form. So that's why, for instance, you can, draw something that looks as if you can draw a pin man and then somebody will see a human being, right? That's Pragnant's principle. Then there is principle of past experience. So previous knowledge and experiences influence how we perceive objects and scenes, right? So an example of this principle is that if you see a tree, you know that tree has a root. You have not seen the root, but you know the root is there. That's principle of past experience, because you've seen countless number of times when trees have been pulled down and then the root is uncovered. So when you see a tree, automatically you know that that it has a root. And in fact, a lot of times you can even estimate the size of the root itself before even though that you cannot see the root with your eyes, but you know that the root exists. That's the principle of past experience. And the reason, and people use this a lot in apps, that's why, for instance, every homepage looks like a house. So that when you see a house there, you already know that this one will take me to a homepage. And if you are trying to design your app and you're trying to do kind, and then in the homepage, you don't use house, you use tree to go to the homepage, people are not going to know what that tree does. Do you understand? And because they don't know what that tree does, they will get lost in your app. So if you try to do your own, there are established mental models in doing things. That button that looks like a diskette is the save button. That one that looks like this thing, what is this thing? Like the search button will always look like what is this thing called again? So a magnifying glass. Yeah. If you try to do your own way, people will get lost. So there are mental models that already exist for certain things. And if you try to veer far away from it, you confuse your users. So you need to rely on their principle of past experience, because they already have set up mental models in the way they do things. And you cannot veer too far away from it, or else you are going to get them confused. Then there is also a principle of isomorphic correspondence. Basically, mental representation correspond to the perceived objects in a one-on-one manner. So, for instance, now, if I draw a tree, right, and then beside it I draw a human being, right? Typically, if the size of the human being does not align with the size of the tree as I recognize it in real life, it becomes confusing, right? So I think this one is more practical if you are designing 3D models. Like if you are designing things like virtual reality, right? If you are designing virtual reality. So if you come in virtual reality now, for instance, and then a tree is looking smaller than the user, or the tree is looking smaller than another human being inside the virtual reality world, that world will become confusing. And one of the things about virtual reality, if you're going to go into it, do more, our program kind of doesn't cover it. But if you do your own, if you want to go into that field of designing virtual reality experiences, is that anything that veers far, even a little, from reality, makes the experience so bad that the virtual reality becomes unusable. So if, for instance, now, there is this thing called motion sickness in virtual reality design, that when somebody is wearing a virtual reality goggle, if something does not match one-on-one, if they throw up an apple and it does not fall with the same speed as it would have fallen in real life, they won't wear that thing for more than 2 minutes, and they will start to feel like they need to vomit. Like the experience will be so bad for them that they are not going to try it again. So that's actually one of the things that is making virtual reality in today's world not go as far as the mobile phone. It's not going as far as it would have gone, because they've not developed a scenario that is going to match one-on-one with people's expectation. And there are technical reasons for that. There is a processing speed, there is blocking out lights because now they cannot make images as sharp as it would have been. And I'm talking of very, very minute differences makes people reject the use of virtual reality. So when Apple released their virtual reality sets recently, people are saying, oh, it's very expensive. Like who cares if it's, listen, if your virtual reality, if the speed of that processing is not one-on-one with a reality, nobody is going to buy that object, no matter how cheap it is, So but that kind of becomes more of a thing when you're designing for, 3D and virtual reality and all of that. Virtual reality mostly, actually. And then there is also principle of parallelism, where elements that are aligned in a parallel are perceived as belonging together. Elements that are aligned in a parallel line, they are assumed to belong together. And there is also principle of synchrony. That's elements that change or move in the same time are perceived as connected. So if you see something blinking with the same, if objects are moving in the same manner or they are blinking in the same manner, automatically you assume that they belong together because they are synchronous. So that's another thing. I think that one is more in motion design. Right. So that is it for this. I think that is it actually. I don't know if so. That is it actually. And this thank you. I also know how you read it, but that's story for another day. Right. That is the end of this our class. To be honest, we will not have a lot of time to go into the other one that we want to do. I don't know if what your patience span is like, because we're supposed to do like a bit of motion design today. It's already 10:40. That's like almost 2 hours into our class. So I don't know. Motion design class will take a while. So maybe we'll just move it to the next class. However, I'm going to be working now because I'm working on that project. I need to deliver a web app on Monday. I'm going to be working on it now. Those who want to remain can remain. I'll stop recording. It's not part of the class. But those who want to remain and observe can remain and observe. But not much more than that. I don't even know if I can do that because anyway, if you want to remain and observe, just remain and observe. You can ask questions, but the class will stop now and I'll stop recording.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, how is it going?
Fine, sir. How about you? Please, sir,